Welcome into the In the Money podcast for Saturday, January 13th. Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Mutuals and Simulcasting. And we're on the road to the Oaks and the Derby with the races that we're looking at for this podcast. It's at the fairgrounds where their main event is the LeCompte, a grade 3 for the boys. And there's also a prep Silver Bullet Day for 3-year-old fillies. And both are part of an all-stakes pick 4 that we're going to take a look at. So, Jim, let's jump in the 7th race, the filly race, Silver Bullet Day at 1.70 miles. And you've got nice-sized fields in all of these races. Where did you land in the Silver Bullet Day?
Well, I landed on, and you pronounced this correctly for me last time, Wonder Gadot, correct?
Yes, from the Wonder Woman movie. And Gal Gadot, who starred in it.
But now the announcer at Aqueduct last time called her Wonder Godot.
Yeah, I heard that.
Went back and looked at it. Yeah, she won. Doesn't matter what you call her. She won by 3 3/4.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a consensus yet, but I saw this the young lady who starred in Wonder Woman referenced even at the Golden Globes the other night as Gal Gadot. So I'm going to stick with that for now.
Okay, I'm thinking Wonder Gadot, the 2-horse for Mark Casse. She very impressive in Demoiselle at Aqueduct at 1.8 miles, stretching out. In the juvenile fillies, she had a rough trip, and don't think she ever really got going out there. And so, but to come back at 1.8 miles and win so easily last time, I think Cassie's got her in the right direction. He's been hot down there. He's 26% at the fairgrounds meet. I'm going to take her. They cross-entered her in the LeCompte, but Casse says he's going to run her here. So I'm going to take a stand in the pick 4 with her there. The other horses that I like in here that have a shot, I think America's Tail for Bernie Flint is really getting better right now, but I don't know what that sloppy track did for her last time out. She won by 8 3/4, but she won Broker Maiden at Churchill on a fast track by 13. So she's got a shot at getting better. And Heavenly Love, I'm not going to toss her based on the Breeders' Cup Juvenile fillies because she went off at less than 4-1. She got up close to lead, and I don't know if she didn't like the track. Bounced a little bit off the Alcibiades, but I think she's got a shot in here as well. So I'm going to take Wonder Gadot over the 6 and 7, but when we get ready to do the pick 4, I'm going to single Cassie's filly.
I am going to go to Wonder Gadot as well. I like the fact that Johnny V is giving up a day in Florida to stay with her. He rode her that last time in New York, and I like her a lot in here. Heavenly Love is, I think, the one to beat if they both go. There's another one that I think is interesting in here, and if Wonder Gadot runs here, I will key everything around her within this race. But Stellar Moon intrigues me a little bit. Stretching out, I think this horse is bred to really relish a stretch out, and I think that one's could be dangerous as an improving 3-year-old filly. The others, America's Tail, Missive, Stronger Than Ever, or others you might throw in the bottom of a try or something. But I like Wonder Gadot a lot as well. I'm not going to single her. I actually started out doing that, but I'm going to not single her, but I gave that a lot of thought. 8th race is the Colonel E.R. Bradley Handicap on the turf at about a mile and a 16th for 4-year-olds and up. And I couldn't find any standout in here. I think there's a lot of different ways you could go. Galton is the one I settled on for a win pick off a 99 buyer off a 2-month break and Castellano riding. And this horse has run well at fairgrounds, so I like that one for the win pick, but it's not a strong inclination. Monster B, the 4, Special Ops, the 9, who's won twice at fairgrounds on this turf. Granny's Kitten, the 6. Anvazari, the 2, if that's how that's pronounced. And Tower of Texas, the 5. Anvazari is kind of my long shot pick in there, but I like all 6 of those, so I'm going to go really deep in this leg with the win pick being for Galton. How about you?
It was really hard for me to separate these horses. I went with Tower of Texas, but I could make the same argument for Gallatin. They come out of the same race. They both got a 99 buyer. I went with Tower of Texas because he's run against better in the past. He ran the Woodbine Mile and got some grade 2s. His resume actually won a grade 2. Gallatin is getting better now, so I think that if the toss-up between those two, Castellano helps Gallatin's chances, obviously, but Giroux is not too big a slouch on Tower of Texas, so he will be my win pick, but I'm going to use 4 horses in the pick 4, so I would play Tower of Texas over Gallatin, the 3, Special Ops, the 9, and Monster B, the 4. It seems like every race we look at, Mark Casse's got something that's live, and this horse comes out of the Artie Schiller almost won a $150,000 stakes race at Aqueduct on the turf at a mile, and probably is going to like to stretch out. So 2 for 6 at this distance. So Monster B has a real shot in here as well. So Tower of Texas is my win pick in the Colonel Bradley.
Let's move on to the Kentucky Derby Prep, the Lecomte to grade 3 at a mile and 70 for the 3-year-olds. And some of the leading contenders in here are drawn outside. Not a real long run to the first turn for this spot. Wonder Gadot is entered in here, and I think could have a shot if she runs. But like you said, we expect her to run in the filly race. But who did you land on in the Lecomte?
Well, I was hoping that since this is your job and it's not my job to pronounce things the right way, I was hoping that you would take this race first.
Principe Guilherme is what I'm going with.
All right. Principe Guilherme, which is Prince William, right?
I think so.
In Portuguese or whatever. So, yeah, what Tom said. I'm taking the 12 horse for Asmussen. So, yeah, he looks like a standout in here. I think the race at Churchill, everybody was just so impressed with him. First time out of the box, he really didn't get that much on the tote board. He was 7.5 to 1, so he came back and paid $17, and that may be the last time you get $17 on him because he was 2 to 5 in the race at Fairgrounds, and he's got a race over the track. He won so easily; it was just very impressive. And Giroux takes him back, and I think he's got a real good shot to wire them here. I did not single because I singled a Silver Bullet Day, so I'm going to go a couple more deep here in the pick 4. I'm going to use Cowboy Karma for Larry Jones, simply because I like Larry Jones at Fairgrounds. He hasn't really been burning up the track, but this horse went off as a big favorite in the Lewis at Laurel and ran second. Ran behind Ferenspire and Good Magic in the Champagne last year at Belmont, so they obviously think a lot of this horse. And Cowboy Karma is going to be a nice little price, 6 to 1 morning line. Also going to use the 10 horse Instilled Regard for Jerry Hollendorfer. You always look at horses that ship for Hollendorfer. The LaSalle Futurity, grade 1, almost won it. Ran 3/4 of a length behind Solomini, a very highly acclaimed horse, and McKenzie, who came back and won last weekend at Santa Anita. So Instilled Regard has got a real shot here, I think, as well. And then I would also use the 1 horse Lone Sailor for my price for Tom Amoss. I think that horse in the Jockey Club didn't run very well, but he's been well intended from the beginning. And I think he's a horse that's going to be completely overlooked in here, and I would throw him in the bottom of my exact as it tries. So, Principe Guilherme?
Guilherme,
is that what you?
Principe
right,
Guilherme.
Okay.
I think
Guilherme.
He or Instilled Regard are one of those two is the most likely winner. I'm going to try to upset him, and I thought maybe I might sneak one in on you, but you found your way to mention my horse, and that's Lone Sailor. He's the Amos Barnes Red Hot, I think, winning about 30% at the meet. And as you said, he's been high on this colt. I remember interviewing him before the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity, where this horse ran 3rd, and he was talking about how high he was on him. Blinkers on, there's an equipment change here that's a good angle for Amos. The workout pattern suggests that this horse might be ready to make a move forward, and he's played a tougher schedule to this point than some of the others, and I think that could serve him well. Plus, he's drawn much better than the horses in the 10 and the 12 holes for a race with a not too long a run to the first turn. So I'm going to take a shot with Lone Sailor, and I would play a exacta box with him, like a 1-10-12, and throw in Wonder Gadot if she runs here, so a 1-3-10-12 within the race. But I'm going to take Lone Sailor in the Lecomte. That gets us to the 10th race, the Louisiana, which is for 4-year-olds and up at a mile and a 16th. Like the player a lot in here. Grade 2 winner, won the Fayette at Keeneland. Training really well. I was reading the Racing Form story, and Buff Bradley said the horses could be doing better. So I think that one's a strong pick. I'm not going to single him, though. I think Cedartown with a 96 buyer in the Zia Park Derby is worth a look at a little bit of a price. And then Hawakam, the 1 I'm going to include off 3 wins at the Fairgrounds. So just a horse for the course angle at a 12 to 1 morning line price there. So I'm going to use all 3 of those in my pick 4 ticket. What's your pick 4 look like?
Well, I'm going to use the player here, the 5 horse as my top pick, but I'm going to go five deep actually here. So I've got it. Since I singled the Silver Bullet Day, I've got lots of money to spend on the other legs. So hopefully I'm right on that one, and I'll have a little money left at the end of the day. But in that race, I'm singling Wonder Gadot, the 2 horse. And then in the 8th race, I am using, where's my notes here? I put my 10th race on top of my notes. Hang on just a second.
Well, while you're finding it, let me add one thing, and this could affect one of your picks. I did read Dazzling Gem's supposed to run on Friday at Oaklawn, so he's expected to scratch out of here. So that's why I didn't include that one.
Singling Wonder Gadot in the first leg, the 2-horse, and I'm going 4 deep in the second leg with the 3, 4, 5, and 9, and that would be Galton, Monster B, Tower of Texas, and Special Ops. And then 4 deep in the fourth leg, your long shot, the 1-horse Lone Sailor. Lone Sailor, the 1-horse. And then I'm also using the other horses that I talked about, the 5 Cowboy Karma, the 10-horse Instilled Regard, and the 12-horse Principe Guilherme. And then the last leg, I'm going 5 deep with a 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. And that's Cedartown, the Player, the 8, Coop to Do, the 9, Shut the Box, and that would be 4 deep because Dazzling Gem is scratched out, you had said. So 4 deep in the last leg. So I'm going single by 4 horses, by 4 horses, by 4 horses. So that's $32.
I'm going to start out in the Silver Bullet Day with the 2 Cassie fillies, Wonder Gadot and Heavenly Love. Take both of those. I'm going to use the 6 I mentioned in the E.R. Bradley, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9. And the LeCompte, Lone Sailor, Instilled Regard, Principe Guilherme, and I'm going to include on the ticket Wonder Gadot, since we're talking about it now a couple of days out. So 1, 3, 10, 12. And then in the last leg, 1, 4, and 5, with the 5, the Player, being the win pick. Now, I will add that if one of those 2 Cassie fillies scratches in the first leg, then add Stellar Moon, and you'll get a big price. And if she'd happen to hit, you could really cut out a lot of the competition. But if both Cassie fillies go, then take a stand with those 2. So I'm looking at 2 by 6 by 4 by 3 for my pick 4 ticket. Best of luck on your Saturday wagers, and we'll be back next week for another edition of the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.